Welcome to the California Prison Research Hub. What if one day the entire California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, the largest prison system in the country, just vanished? What would happen to the nearly 100,000 people inside? What about the 60,000 employees? And what would it mean for the safety of our communities? This isn't a prediction, it's a thought experiment, and the answers reveal just how fragile the foundation of our society truly is. Let's dive into the hypothetical. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, or CDCR, is a massive and complex operation. It manages 32 state prisons, a leased facility, and 34 conservation camps. As of early 2023, it was responsible for about 95,600 incarcerated people. Beyond that, it supervises nearly 38,600 adults on parole through its Division of Adult Parole Operations. The department isn't just a collection of buildings, it's a huge part of the state's infrastructure. It manages over 49 million square feet of space and more than 25,000 acres of land. In 2023, its budget was approximately $14.8 billion. So what if all of that just disappeared overnight? The immediate consequence would be a complete and unsupervised mass release of over 95,000 people from state prisons and conservation camps. This is not a planned reentry process, which normally takes up to 45 days and includes verifying documents, providing funds, and notifying victims and law enforcement. All of those steps would be bypassed. The legal status of different populations, including those serving life sentences or life without parole, would be thrown into chaos. And it's not just about who's released. The entire system of supervision would vanish. The Division of Adult Parole Operations would cease to exist, instantly eliminating monitoring, electronic surveillance, and support services for nearly 40,000 people on parole. The state's ability to apprehend individuals for parole violations would also be eliminated. In the past, planned and managed reforms like Public Safety Realignment, AB 109, and Proposition 47 did not lead to a significant increase in violent crime, though a modest rise in property crime like auto theft was noted. But this is different. Approximately half of the incarcerated population is convicted of violent offenses like homicide and assault. Releasing this many people without any supervision or support has no historical parallel. One study suggests that for every one prisoner reduction, the number of crimes could increase by about 15 per year. An immediate release of over 95,000 people would lead to an immense surge in crime. The collapse would also have a devastating economic impact. The CDCR employs over 60,000 people, more than half whom are correctional officers. A sudden cessation would mean they would all be unemployed. Dozens of small rural communities in California are economically dependent on prisons, which often serve as the largest employers and sources of tax revenue. The loss of all of them simultaneously would be a sudden recession in some of the state's most vulnerable regions. The state would also be left with a massive liability, over 25,000 acres of property and millions of square feet of physical infrastructure. Without a warm shutdown process to maintain these properties, they would likely fall into disrepair, becoming unsafe and unusable. So what does this thought experiment teach us? It shows us that a modern penal system is a deeply integrated part of a state's legal, social, and economic infrastructure. A deliberate, well-funded, and controlled reduction in incarceration can lead to significant fiscal savings and can occur without a catastrophic increase in violent crime. But an immediate, unmanaged collapse would not be a leap forward. It would be a descent into a crisis on multiple fronts. It would highlight a sobering reality. A functional society cannot simply tear down its penal system without a massive investment in the social and legal infrastructure to replace it. A true abolitionist model isn't just about tearing down prisons. It's about building something new. It's about constructing a robust, well-funded, and decentralized network of community-based services and restorative justice mechanisms to manage the core functions of a society without a carceral system. If you found this thought experiment insightful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the California Prison Research Hub for more deep dives into the state's justice system.